और आगे
कुछ सुने
हम लाइव हो गए.
Nice song, huh?
Char Kadam. Yep.
This was PK.
PK, I think, yeah.
But it was Sushant Singh Rajput and Anushka Sharma.
Anushka Sharma, yeah.
अनुष्का सोमया नहीं शर्मा.
सोमया कहाँ से हो रही हो?
शर्मा ही हुआ था सर यार. आप लोग यार. Let's move.
बहुत याद रही है आपको रुचा सोमया.
तो इसी बात पे आईटी की बात कर लेते थोड़ी सी.
Anyways, thank you so much for joining in. Please subscribe, like, and send in your questions.
Yes. बताइए सर.
आप बताइए.
Why the market's flat?
Why shouldn't they be flat? अभी तो रोज तो ऊपर जाएगा. बस है. थोड़ा pause before. I still think the uptrend is underway. I mean, there's no reason otherwise. But yesterday, I think we spoke about it also. But yesterday, Sudeep Bandyopadhyay Bandyo. We asked him yesterday, off air. So when Sudeep mentioned this, that he thought, and he said, I've also done this, that in the run-up to the July 9th volatility, I'll take some money off the table right now. In case something doesn't go right, then at least I have some cash on the downside if the markets were to correct 400, 500 points or whatever it is on the Nifty. But he said, and there could be volatility, and it could be, right?
Yeah.
Because yesterday we've gotten this update that there is a bit of a stalemate that is on right now between India and US as well. And last night's comments from Trump on Japan are not
creating
not very kind. So therefore, why not? Why not? Why shouldn't there be profit booking?
You know, it was expected, right? Because towards the July 9th thing, people would be a little cautious because you firstly you have a Trump which is a volatile character, and secondly, you have countries who have their self-interest in play here, and they will not just because Trump is saying July 9th, they will say okay, we will do it everything by July 9th.
Exactly.
Simple as that. Means at the end of the day, if he's going to impose the tariffs and things get expensive for exports to the US, you're basically increasing your inflation. Simple as that.
Agreed.
If that is the case, then it basically strengthens the arm of Powell. You're playing into the hands of Powell.
Of somebody that you're saying is
simple as that. It's not going to be an easy job for Trump. And I think that he will go for a 30 to 60 day extension. I don't know whether
you think so.
I think so. Because
so you're saying July 9th के बाद 30 and 60
July
days.
9 के बोलेगा, we are in the last stages of many more deals. We are going to extend it by another 30 days.
You think so?
I think so.
Taco trade
is going to happen. Of course, that's something which will be there in his mind as well.
Yeah.
Simple. But trade deals take years to do, and he's trying to do everything in 90 days, which is not going to happen.
No, what he might do is, we have signed the deal, the details will come in 90 days.
Yeah. Because
what deal have you signed?
Nothing, we've signed the deal that we'll agree to.
We'll agree to agree.
Yeah.
But for India, you have already done a framework, na?
Yeah.
When JD was here,
and I think, to my mind, from whatever reasons that Tamanna yesterday on the phone was saying, from whatever reasons,
I think she joins us, we will ask her as well.
But the reasons that are being spoken about, right? I think the government is absolutely right in getting those reasons. We can't let our marginal farmers suffer in digital competition.
There is a line which will not cross.
And we shouldn't cross.
And it's a political suicide line, right?
Even if it is not. Let's assume that this government got the stay in power for life. Then also you would not go down and do this thing because you don't ideally want it.
Exactly.
So some compromises here and there, yes, but not entirely.
So my view was that that there is a high bargain which is happening with respect to labor intensive sectors which are happening, like you have the jewelry sectors and others which are leather and other which is happening. And I think the best way to look at it is that what is the kind of deal we have done with other countries with respect to the same sector, whether it's in the UK or UAE or Australia, where we have signed an FTA with all three countries. I think that becomes a framework for us to take to years as well. We're not going to dilute ourselves and say that I will be stringent. I want leniency from UAE, but I'm okay with US. That's not going to happen because a product sold in the UAE or in the US requires the same kind of work and other stuff. So So I think that's something which will be there in the framework. And second thing which is coming out is that autos are not going to get that incentive.
Yeah.
Which is
I
bad
think
for the
more
auto industry. And I
auto-
want you to come in here
Yeah.
because that's something which is how is it going to impact some of the companies like an Endurance or
I think we could see some because I think we put out the data in April that India exports roughly about $2 billion of auto components.
Yeah.
But we see only very few players who have a lot of exposure. Like Samvardhana has a lot of exposure to the US, but they also have one of the biggest plants in Alabama. So when we've been speaking to them, they've said that this could be an opportunity, but of course there will be some impact. Like for example, Sona BLW is impacted by this. Now the rare earth magnet issue is also hitting the company, but they've started to firstly diversify a little bit. The second aspect is they have plants in US. Samvardhana has plants, and under USMCA, the Mexico and Canada factories also get protected. So Sona BLW also get protected. So I feel a lot of the exports that go from India for Sona as well, of course, that will be impacted. But eventually, it's like for Sona, the biggest company is Tesla. And while whatever has happened between Elon and Trump and everything is secondary, they won't want to hamper the production of auto companies within the US as well, just because of this tariff impact. So Tesla will be like, I'm manufacturing 100% in the US. And now you're putting tariff on my supplier. How will I continue to manufacture in the US? So there are only 2 or 3 companies that actually Tesla is the only one who has 100% manufacturing in the US.
You don't have anything in China?
Nah.
They do everything.
Whatever they sold in the US is everything from the US.
Okay.
So I'm saying they have actually invested so much, and then you're like going to tariff their supplier. How is it going to work? Where are they going to make the money from?
Interesting. And this Trump versus Elon war, which is happening, and Trump wants
Tesla,
to send Elon's entire subsidies to Doge. Do you think that's going to have an impact on? And
Too
I think,
difficult. I mean,
one of the bills they passed
this relationship is more volatile than the markets.
No, but one of the bills which got passed last night was on renewables. Actually, the incentives are going to be withdrawn from 2027.
Are you talking about the big, beautiful bill?
Which hasn't become big,
yeah,
and beautiful as yet, but it has to go back to the House for approval.
The passing was also 51-50. It's like they were like on borderline to pass the bill within the Senate as well. Like they had that one vote from JD Vance when it's split 50-50, and that's how it actually got passed. So the way it got passed also is so difficult.
So and their trade head Ludwig, he was I think there was a quote from him saying that we're not going to talk about the trade only after July 4th, because till then our focus is to get the big beautiful budget get passed. So you have Senate, now you have it goes back to the Congress, and the Congress will now look at all the changes the Senate has done, and then they will do their own changes, and he's trying to push this bill to be passed before July 4th. So I don't know whether it's going to happen or not. Senate में भी तो majority तो था. Maybe वो था. He has opposition from his own party.
I think there were 3 people who voted against this bill within from the Democrats, from the Republicans as well.
Yes, so I'm just saying that there is an opposition from his own party on some of the issues, because it, especially with respect to renewables, with green and other stuff.
Let me come to you on IT first today. What is your this thing? Why is IT moving up today?
It's not moving up. It's flat, right?
In this market, though, you can say moving up, yeah.
0.3% moving up कहते हैं क्या?
So Infi is 2% up.
वो point है.
वो point ये है. No. So there has been a couple of reports which have been talking about a steady quarter for many of the IT companies. So it's not going to. I still hold the view that the year is not going to be as good as expected. It's going to be a flat year for the IT.
But abhi expectations are very bad only, no? I mean, Infosys is expecting 0 to 3% growth. That it can't get any worse than that, right?
Infi के results से पहले ये हमेशा आता है कि guidance बढ़ाने वाला.
Yeah, I saw अभी वो.
और फिर lower end का ऊपर बढ़ा देते हैं.
0 to 3 का 1 to 3 हो जाएगा.
1 to 3 हो जाएगा. तो यही होने वाला है और कुछ नहीं.
But even that will be taken positively, ना कि बस चलो 1 to 3.
पर वो तो कौन लिखता positively?
वो तो analyst, yeah, of course.
अब analyst
अजीत सर आजकल एनालिस्ट पे बहुत गुस्सा है, पता नहीं क्यों.
हाँ, इससे याद आया मुझे कि आज मैंने गोल्डमैन सैक्स का रिपोर्ट देखा जहाँ पर where it says that I'm downgrading Indus Ind from
Neutral.
hold to
From
neutral
neutral
to
to sell.
sell, and I'm upgrading the price target.
वो तो ठीक है, वो तो कई बार होता
क्या
है।
डाउनग्रेड होता है ये क्या डाउनग्रेड है भाई?
कल डिक्सन में भी हुआ था ना वो मॉर्गन
वो तो
स्टैनली।
यार सजीत, you know sells नहीं,
ये I know sell side pressures.
नहीं pressures नहीं,
हाँ.
but उसका अगर पहले का call, if he's not changed the call, right, and right now they are wanting to change the call and tell the people don't buy the stock, so
तो
they are
बोलो सीधा.
changing it, but based on the DCF or the Excel sheet, the value of the stock is still higher than the low at the stock at the price at which they were.
I get
So
what you're saying.
logical है।
You know, it's going
तो आप क्यों इसको सेंसेशनलाइज कर रहे हो? गौर से देखो इस चेहरे को, ये सेंसेशनलाइज कर रहा है
कि मेरा एक हाथ ऊपर है और एक हाथ पीछे है।
Come on. But yeah, Sajeet, sorry, on this I disagree. I agree with you on most things, but on this I disagree.
नहीं, हम तभी तो हम बैटर करते हैं।
हाँ, ये रूम के अंदर आके आप लोग डिसएग्री करते हो ना हर
हम
चीज।
बाहर नहीं करते हैं।
बाहर नहीं करते।
But what's happening to auto numbers?
Yeah.
I
mean,
tale of
it's continuing.
two wheelers.
So by the way,
Bajaj and Eicher, मुझे बताओ क्यों?
नहीं, सजीत को ये बताओ और बाद में मुझे ये बताओ कि of the 10-12 auto companies that matter, which has done well for the month and for the quarter, which has not done well for the month and for the quarter?
I think the answer is quite same for both those questions because
Okay,
Joe,
please.
so first on Bajaj and this thing,
Bajaj versus Eicher.
Eicher is very interesting because Eicher is up 22% in this month and Bajaj, the domestic two-wheelers only, it's down 16%. That's the story. Now, the key aspect is I feel that 125cc ka growth is happening, but not at the rapid pace that these guys wanted, and they've launched the Pulsar there. But there's a lot of competition there from Honda. And it looks like, because, people are looking to buy the Honda Shine. It's more non-fashionable, very conventional. And that seems to be working. Honda has not changed their product despite whatever TVS and Bajaj have happened. I think that's what's happening right now.
TVS is also up, right?
TVS has only 11% market share in 125cc. They are like still very
But
slow.
overall sales for TVS
TVS has been phenomenal because of scooters. And that's a clear trend for 6 months now. EV is also doing well, 30,000 a month now. But scooters, it's a clear trend that scooterization is happening now versus motorcycle, and that's not just because of EVs. That's also because of conventional. And
आपको लगता है कि TVS काला घोड़ा है?
I mean, so valuation तो इतना है 37 times price to earnings.
See, look at it from the portfolio point of view. EV चल रहे हैं, scooters चल रहे हैं,
everything is working. Yeah.
बाकी सब में कहीं ना कहीं कुछ segment hit problem.
Yeah.
So from that point of view, TVS seems to be, even if the valuations are high.
Yeah.
It make पीछे से आगे निकल गया, मतलब
I mean,
उनको पता भी नहीं चला कि
correct, because like today also we saw that report on Hero. Hero's 18 times price to earn. TVS is 37. It's like 100%. It's double the valuation. So I think
it's a re-rating actually.
I feel the ABS impact will happen on TVS because scooters में ABS लगेगा.
Price increase will be there. But 2
to 4% थोड़ा impact, but not very much. But there will be some impact. They can absorb it, of course. But I think they are focused on EBITDA margins going over 12. They are there. This thing. But your question, it's very, very simple that there are these three giants and then there are everybody else. There's TVS, there's Eicher, and there's Mahindra. Baki, nothing is working unless they do new launches. So what for Tata Motors, the one question I have is because they've launched a smaller car, Altroz, and they launched another one, Tiago, in January. And that's what they said, that FY25 was slow because of that. But it doesn't seem to be helping those sales in this month, in these 3 months. It's a 15% fall is a huge number, I feel, because you have Mahindra growing 18% and you have Tata falling 15% in the same month where the others have done, like Maruti is up 1%, Hyundai is down 6%, but the Tata number just caught my eye. 15% is a little bit more than what analysts had.
How are the category volumes doing? I mean,
SUVs continue, but within SUVs also you're seeing the preference for brands like Mahindra. It's clear, it's visible. It's and for Maruti also the SUVs have done well, but they are going to launch one new model this year, I think, and so it's again pushed again to H2, grow everything in H2, and that seems to be the around festival season. This seems to be the story right now.
Yeah, interesting to see how the August.
So, sorry, to answer this thing, it's difficult to really call what's the way forward on, because from the start of the year we've been talking about that the trigger for Tamo might be the demerger, but beyond that, I think there's a lot of issues both on the global passenger front and the local PV front, wherein I would suspect from the looks of it that other companies are gaining market share.
Yes. And there's a lot of churn happening with respect to, I mean, the aggression which is coming in by three companies, Aisha, uh, TVS, and Mahindra, with respect to the kind of launches, the way, the kind of push they're doing, it's totally different. And
Yeah.
you can see that as a three different guys who are in a different
Yeah.
trajectory, actually.
And you know, somehow just the layman thing, and then we need to move to questions
Yeah,
because we have missed questions. But one last thing there, and actually, you know, on the real estate piece, I think we'll do it tomorrow, guys. So we'll show that to our viewers tomorrow. There's a lovely piece around real estate I wanted to talk about. We'll do that tomorrow.
We can do it today if you want.
No, we have to take questions.
Okay.
But very quickly on Tamo, I thought for a brief period, and I don't define the time zones, but for a brief period, Tata Motors got its act on domestic passenger vehicles, the look and feel.
Yeah.
Absolutely spot on, right?
Yeah.
Some of the SUVs that they launched, including the Harrier, etc.,
Yeah.
looked sexy, felt good. I don't know how the driving pleasure was. I didn't own one, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying some of those did really well.
Yeah.
Since then, I think the last few launches, the look of those launches isn't quite up to the spec relative to what a Mahindra is launching.
Yeah.
Forget what a BYD is doing in or a Xiaomi is doing in China.
Yeah.
But what a Mahindra is able to do here as well. I think those looks are comparable to what the Xiaomis are doing, to be honest. To my mind, the look and feel of a Mahindra car is looking very good.
Getting rave reviews with respect to the new launches, actually.
Yeah.
So
It's
the bookings have
outselling
been
do you know,
Tesla now.
here's a trivia. From December 2023, if I look at BMW, Mercedes, Porsche, Xiaomi, and then maybe one more.
Volkswagen?
No. I'm forgetting. Ferrari. Yeah, one more listed.
Lamborghini.
All those other three, which is BMW, Mercedes, and Porsche, have given negative returns.
Yeah.
Xiaomi is up 3x.
3x, yeah.
Ever since December, why December 2023? That's when Xiaomi announced the vehicle
launch. Yeah.
So phone company has done really well on vehicles. The vehicle companies are not able to do that.
Yeah, and it's very, very stark now that within Europe there is that preference that, you know, these guys won't be able to either give the consumer what they want, or within they're not adopting tech. Like that's why we see BYD is outselling Tesla in Europe. That's old news. Now it's that Xiaomi might also outsell Tesla in Europe, and that is very stark, as you said.
But Tesla looks good also.
Tesla
is not conventional.
But the conventional ones are not able to adopt.
Also just not able to adopt.
And I think that's where the difference comes with M&M and Tamo also, right?
But I hope Tamo doesn't do that.
Yeah.
The differentiator.
I like Tamo as a brand.
Yeah. As this thing, it's very India, very trusty. Yeah.
But you know what's differentiating Xiaomi with other companies is the tech cost. The tech cost is much more lower for them because of the kind of investments they've done for their phones and other stuff, and they've been able to bringing that into
most certainly.
That's one of the reasons why it is.
$35,000 की गाड़ी है, मतलब कितना 25 लाख हुआ. A full spec EV with all gizmos 25 lakh में.
And I think now the charging problem has also been evaluated. I think this is one company very famous from China, CATL. I think you guys know. So that listed away in May. Stock is flying there, but they've like limited the charging time to 5 minutes now. So you go in, you put your car on a platform. The platform takes your old battery, puts your new battery. You can go in 5 minutes. And it's no longer
battery changing.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that the Mahindras and the Tatas do something similar here. The look and feel of the Mahindra cars is fabulous. Tata, I'm sure, will get its act together, and hopefully we'll see more of this. Anyways, questions.
So let's take questions.
So one question I'll take because I have to go for the show.
Ayushman, no?
on Ayushman also, and on Southern also was asking after the death of Sanjay, there is a doubt in the market for Sona Comstar. I feel like it won't hamper the business as much because the current MD, Vikram, he's still the MD. And the company has emphasized that they will be looking to continue what was the legacy. They will look to, what's interesting is they're looking to continue the legacy of Sanjay and also increase the focus on the existing business. But I feel like that wouldn't happen too much. So we look at Q1 earnings also because the rare magnet issue is slightly something that I'm concerned about for Sona specifically. The tariff also there, but the rare magnet, because they make these products, I think it could be impacted from there. Ayush
was asking on Ayushman Lalani was asking on Tata Motors, but we spoke about it.
It gets demerged. I feel we spoke the truck business separate hoga, to us pe focus aega, and I think that one could be one of the dark horses because it's the return ratios are fantastic on the truck business. It's already at 12% EBITDA. I think the passenger car business is 6.8. So you have a very stark difference, and then suddenly you get a EV bus wala segment bhi usme hai. So I feel like the commercial vehicle business is going to be the biggest beneficiary. We spoke to the management also on that, but that was the thought process.
You bounce now.
Yes.
Yes.
You
Yes,
can send
bounce.
Harsh in for
Yeah.
10 minutes if he has the time.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
check with him.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Puneet.
Thank you.
Lovely
sirs.
insights.
HDB Finance, should we wait for Hersh if he comes in?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So
Let's
we'll
take
take that question because it's a big one.
What's
On-
your view on market-linked debentures? You have a view on that?
No. I
Okay.
don't have an informed view right now.
Yeah, we
MLD
need to get
space. You have a view on
get-
MLD?
No,
No.
It's little complex structure in any ways.
Sorry, no view.
So your views on energy sector, specifically hydrogen-based fuel?
Well, a thing of the future for sure. And in fact, if you see what KPIT was trying to do, a hydrogen-powered engine for buses, right? I think they did that about a year ago.
They've done it for small boats and
Small
ship
boats
ports.
also, right?
Yeah, along with Cochin shipyard.
Yeah. So good. So it's the future. It's available in plenty in India. I think the simplest point that people are making, that this technology is evolving so quickly that everything is on the table. What eventually succeeds remains to be seen.
What's your view on the new rule for SME IPOs? There has been some changes with respect to the minimum investments and other stuff which is there. But
is there? I
Yeah.
thought what was changed. I mean, okay, I'm not completely informed on this, but as long as it's a well-researched SME company,
yeah,
the SME market is good. So I think what only would matter is if all of us, when they put in the money into an SME IPO, completely research the company and then go ahead. But Sajeet, I'm thrilled with all that's happening. The SME IPO, if the right
capital
companies
formation
come,
is happening.
exactly, because you see the private markets are
Yeah.
active.
But
Or
ek do ginde companies, yeah, I mean, bad apples does not spoil the entire thing.
unfortunately, a lot of bad apples, which is the problem.
And I think that's something for the industry to take a look at it.
Yes, and for the bankers in that
Bankers,
industry to
yes,
take a
take a look
But
at
there are some terrific companies. There is an SME company in which Malabar Capital, Sumit Nagar, has put in 140 crores. It's an SME company.
There's one SME EV company, I think, which is listing today. I haven't seen the details of it, but I was just looking at the listings happening. It was an SME NSE emerge company which was getting listed there, which had an EV link to it. So there are many IPOs which are coming in.
Some
But
really
there are-
good IPOs. Just
but
do your research,
the
please. Please do
very
your
good
research.
thing which is there is creating capital formation.
Yeah.
These are some of the companies which may tomorrow, means even if 1% of them grow into a bigger one and come to the main board, imagine the kind of work, kind of the capital or liquidity which is coming.
Yeah,
New people which comes in. HDB Financial, we are waiting for you to get your take.
Yeah, I don't know what
840?
the price is right now.
You don't know?
No, sorry, I haven't seen it.
दादा ऐसे कैसे चलेगा?
830 पे list हुआ, but
848.
848. So 850. So around 3.7 times now. I think 1 year forward. That's starting to look expensive now.
Is it?
Yeah.
अरे आप expensive बोल रहे हो?
Yeah, I mean भाव होता है तो.
You know, I was
3.7
telling you in
expensive.
the morning as well. There's a technical factor which will play out here. In the entire IPO, FIs have only 4% stake in the company, and it's a company which I think every FI or institutions will like to have in the portfolio. QIP was subscribed 55 times. Mutual funds will have around 8-9% in it, and FIs are going to have only 4%. So if there are institutional demand coming in, you know who's going to sell?
Tell me.
Retail.
because only 16% of the equity is freely tradable. Rest all of the 25% is locked in, either in an anchor book or pre-IPO shareholders are locked in it. So retail will have to sell, and if retail are not going to sell, then it's going to create a liquidity squeeze, and the stock will go up from here.
So you are expecting it to go up.
I expect if FIs are interested to have that company in the portfolio, which is a marquee company in that sense from SGFC's stable, and it's priced decently.
But then you start to play barter, right? You are getting HDFC at 2.5 times price to book, and you are seeing a turnaround in the business there. You are seeing Kotak, HDFC Bank, yes. You're seeing Kotak Bank also trading similar valuations. Again, a turnaround seen there. So some of the large private sector banks are good turnaround candidates, given that they've been laggards over the last 2 to 3 years. And then you have an HDB coming in and pricing it at 3, which seemed reasonable, but now at 4 times, or rather closing in on 4 times, it'll start to look expensive as well, right?
Could be,
No?
but at one point in time, HDFC used to trade much more had a much more premium than HDFC Bank.
No cyclicality in credit costs, sir. The credit cost cycle would never hurt HDFC Bank, which is why it used to trade at a premium. That's not the case for an HDB Financial.
Do you think that they are stuck for
the ROAs are extremely volatile between 2 and 3. Now you'd be happy with an ROA between 2 and 3, but that still means that there is volatility in the ROA, right? That there's underlying risk in the portfolio. That cannot be taken
away. But as
away.
an institutional investor, would you like to have that stock in your portfolio? I'm asking a simple question. Will you say, oh, it's because ROA is
Not
2,
at any price, no, sir.
It's moving from 2 to 3 or 3
Not
to
at
2?
any price, right? Everything should have a price.
1300 रुपए पे
1300 में खरीदूंगा मैं जाके
No, not
अभी नहीं
really.
खरीदूंगा 1300 में खरीदूंगा
No, not really. No, I am just kidding.
no
No, sorry, I had to respond to a company management, so which is why I kind of switched off the conversation. But you're talking about HDB Financial only right now, or HDFC Bank?
HDFC Financial. I'm saying
HDB
if
Financial.
you're an institutional investor, would you like to have this in your portfolio?
I mean, Sajeet, to my mind, I think the days of compulsorily having a stock in your portfolio because it was the only lone star in a sector are nearly over, right? Because this sector too has bellwethers, has great companies below and above it. You can own any of them. I can understand that if you want to play aviation, you don't have a choice on that sector. यहाँ पे तो बहुत है. I mean, if I'm an institutional holder, if I really believe in the growth story of Bajaj Finance, I don't need to have HDB Finance. I can have Bajaj Finance, I can have Sundaram, I can have smaller names.
Jio?
All of them. Whatever. Yeah, all of them.
Yeah.
Bajaj Finance is available at 5 times book. Does an ROA of 4.5%. Why should one go for a volatile ROA, 2 to 3% variance in ROA, for a 3.5, 4 times book? That's essentially the question I leave on the table. For maybe institutional investors can answer that. But I would not be very convinced
but do you
if
see
someone
that
is buying it
now
at 4
that
times.
you are into the market, you will be forced by the market to stabilize your ROAs going forward.
Not true, sir. That's nature of the lending business, unfortunately.
Of their lending business.
Of their lending business and of many lending businesses.
Except for a very few.
Yeah,
I think the Sundaram group would not have such volatility because they are just too conservative in that sense.
Correct.
So they will also maybe the market will force them to go towards that conservatism. Simple as that.
But then that will mean that they tap into
HDFC is very conservative.
But they tap into those customers which HDFC taps into, and then where is the distinction between HDFC and HDB? The whole point of an HDB is superior ROA in good cycles and okay ROA in bad cycles. Really, that is the nature of the business.
Another big thing which is sword hanging for them is the recent RBI discussion paper, right? You can't be in the same segment as your parent, and if that continues and it comes into play, then either you have to exit or you have to merge back into HDFC Bank.
We've discussed this in super amounts of detail. I mean, we can discuss it even now, but for lack of time, watch the KYC on HDB and you will know what we're talking about.
For Raymond Realty after demerger, what's your view?
No, I mean, their outlook is very bullish, but there are a clutch of players out there operating in the markets that Raymond Realty is talking about being very strong in. And with a lot of experience in real estate. So per se, actually, this is a good one. This is a good one to do a poll. Let's just quickly do a poll. That is the Raymond brand in real estate strong enough for you to prefer that over the pure play real estate players, right? You can consider the Lodha, Oberoi, Suntech. But the ones in Thane region would largely be Rustamji, Lodha, and now an Oberoi, right? So let's say these three, right? And it could well be, I don't know, but I'm just leaving. Let's do this poll. Maybe we can do it tomorrow as well because it'll give you a great answer, right? Simple.
And one more thing on realty. Sorry, just one more thing on realty. Listening in to Vishal Bhargav, and we did an interview with Vishal Bhargav yesterday, where he was talking about how Gurugram's realty
is
pricing,
said, right?
Yes, is like a house of cards. Just about to collapse. So reminded me of our conversation yesterday on Bulls, Bear and Banter, where you suggested that Gurugram's house, which you own.
I don't have a home in Gurugram. I have a house in NCR, but I'm aware of Gurugram.
Sorry, yes, correct. So So very similar markets, right?
Yeah.
Would it be
It's a
substantially
totally
different?
different market.
No, very
actually.
different market.
Very different.
Okay, then
Delhi
my
Delhi
apologies.
market is
Then maybe
different.
I don't have
Noida,
enough
Greater
knowledge.
Noida market is different. Gurugram market is different.
I don't know, but if you hear, for example, Signature Global, right? They are saying
into Gurugram.
they don't feel the reason to get out of Gurugram at all because
Yeah. It's a micro market that's
it's going to be really strong. So I don't
but
know.
the supplies are very high in
Yeah.
that sense. If you look at that market, actually Gurugram has also expanded like anything.
अभी भी लोग बोलते हो once golden mile
हाँ.
वहां तक ठीक है
हाँ,
उसके बाहर गए तो
उसके आगे भी गुरुग्राम
sorry if there are any Gurugram watchers, but I just met somebody 3 days ago and that person said that if my office I have to send a female after 7:30 beyond the golden mile or whatever it is, then a guard has to be escorted even now. That's not great news per se.
Yeah,
but I haven't been there for a really long time, so I don't know. Yeah, but it looks solid.
It's still called Gurugram, and like in Mumbai, New Cuff Parade happens to be in Navi Mumbai and not in Mumbai. It's Gurugram.
New Cuff Parade happens to be in Mumbai.
Vadala.
New. एक उधर भी है उस साइड में वडाला उस साइड में आ जाता है
हाँ तो न्यू कफ परेड बॉम्बे में ही है
मुंबई में मतलब देयर इज अनदर एक और है ना कौन सा है which is on the Navi Mumbai side as well
but not Cuff Parade something
not some other name but my point is that we have extended that city concept to beyond the thing Worli and Upper Worli those kind of stuff which comes into play so it's
instead of Lower Parel Upper Worli
so those things
branding change
but there's a question for Bandhan Bank for you
okay
what they want
Sorry,
your views
I
on
don't have my questions with me
so Bandhan Bank is there anything that you have to say on Bandhan Bank
I mean it will be a key beneficiary of the credit cycle if the microfinance credit cycle were to turn for sure it will be one of the key and you can start to see sparks of that maybe last couple of quarters we started to see growth come back for a Bandhan the problem or the worry here is the Northeast where nearly 50% of the portfolio comes from the Northeast and problems over there just don't seem to end it's just one problem after another so maybe that's something you want to be watchful about but asset quality is the key here if that were to turn I'm sure that the stock will re-rate fairly quickly
Hersh, I have a question for you brainless or first cry what's happening with brainless and first cry
brain bees
sorry hey, he said brainless I just read it out
I thought he's calling me brainless and I was like okay I agree but then I should be answering this question sorry sorry.
I just read through it actually
no problem so what about it
I think what's happening with brain bees / first cry
I really don't I really don't know frankly so I've asked Mahima about this a couple of times but I really don't know what's happening with
platform
why don't I check and get back
platform businesses we need to look at the way they are getting treated
why?
Because last 2 years theme was it's a platform consumer centric everything and you get a good valuation and all but at the end of it I think the market is getting frustrated saying that there's no cash flows which are coming in so valuations are again down for many of them but I think we should now
I just heard a statistic today that the annual number of orders that a Zomato does which is the highest right now versus what a Mituan does right there is a 60x difference 60x apparently and therefore the room for growth while they are already adding adjacencies right I mean it's stellar
no so look at the order part of it and look at also the cash flow part of it I would say
फिलहाल investments हो रहे हैं at some point of time these businesses will throw up I'm not I'm not recommending a buy or a sell here all I'm saying is the size of the opportunity is really good
but point is that if you see that opportunity as a big multi-bagger for in the next 10 years or something then you have to wait for that period
you're saying it could be back-ended
in the sense it could be back-ended. It's not going to be front-ended in any ways.
Okay.
It may turn out what you're saying may turn out to be a multi-bagger for in next 10 years.
No idea.
Or for that matter, the models would have changed 3 times in the next 10 years and become a multi-bagger. Yeah. Because when the IPOs came in, it was not a quick commerce company. It was a food delivery company. Now it became a quick commerce. Also. And food delivery is getting saturated. So I'm saying that you have to wait And
But you know, my bet,
sit on
Sajeet,
your conviction.
but
So
my bet is that food delivery will pick up again, and I'll tell you why. There are two reasons for this, to my mind. One, the quantum of restaurants available in India versus compared to any other country in the world relative to the kind of population that we have, much lower. And eating out is a phenomenon that is picking up dramatically, and that ties in with something that I'm very happy about. One thing, the growing power of the woman in the workforce, and I hope it only increases, because if that were to happen, you
More
have to give
confident.
credit that the woman will have less time to be the homemaker, and therefore you will have to order from outside. It may not be from a restaurant, it may be from a series of cloud kitchens, which is fine, right? And I may be a minority here, I don't care, but I firmly believe that yes, I it's amazing to see. I mean, our newsroom is dominated with women in all spheres, right? Working. It's just great to see. And why not? So it's okay. I think food delivery will actually pick up over a period of time again.
could be. You may be right, but it's the right pricing which they have to look at. And the second thing is that of the number of additions in the stores, or counts for many of the QSRs and others, a large percentage is cloud kitchens which are getting added in that sense. So it's what you're saying is right. Saying that you may not be going out, but you're getting it ordered from a cloud kitchen and you're getting served.
Business idea है solid यार
हाँ.
मेरे पास.
बोलो.
कोई कर रहा भी होगा, but everybody wants home cooked food, but don't have time for home cooked food, right? Somebody should do a tie-up with women, housewives, what have you, who are making ghar ka khana. It may not be standardized dal, or may not be standardized rotis, not be standardized, but it is ghar ka khana made in a clean environment and with good ingredients. और आप order करो इस पे. नहीं, मैं बोल रहा हूँ Zomato पे order करो under a common brand. Let's say SHN Foods. SHN Foods guarantees you clean food items delivered from a home near you. The taste will not be same, let's say in Bombay, if you're in Bombay, in Colaba versus, let's say, Bandra. But that doesn't matter. You'll get home cooked food.
Just tell you one thing. I used to order pre-COVID from an app where only cooks were there. So you can select the cook and you can get his food and it gets delivered to you.
तो भी होता है. पर वो डिलीवरी में प्रॉब्लम हो गया होगा. ये Zomato के साथ टाई अप करके आई एम लॉन्चिंग अ ब्रांड.
कर रहे हो?
यार सोच रहा हूँ. Because I suffer from it.
Cloud funding कर रहे हो?
No, I depend on Hersh for daily home cooked food. Yeah. I don't want that dependency. He's a great friend, but I don't want that dependency. Simple.
He does depend on me. It depends on my wife, actually. All credit to Soha, not
But
me.
that is for you to give credit to her, which I give her any which ways. But bhaiya, the Zomato guy is also important. No? Okay, we need to wrap.
Okay, we need to wrap. Hi folks, while I'm selling few units of certain shares that have went up significantly, I'm unable to find good buys. What's the best use of cash right now? ये तो बहुत ही tricky question.
देखो हमने अभी बोला start में कि next 7-8 days may be a bit volatile, so try and book profits. Maybe wait for the outcome to come in. There'll be enough stocks. Even if the index is all-time highs, there'll be sectors which will probably still do well, right? So maybe wait for the volatility to have, I think.
And I think if you're launching SHN, that's a great place to invest.
No, but seriously, wait for the volatility to ebb.
We own pipe
really
business.
Summit did on this.
Sambhv.
No, but I'm just saying on this, Summit did a really good piece at 8:45 a.m.
We should drop that piece here.
If we can. I don't know if we can drop or not because it may not be cut. Maybe we'll get Summit to do it again on the closing show. But it's okay. So tune into the closing show today. It's a really informed piece. I don't want to speak more about it.
Okay.
Let people tune into the.
Sorry, what was this?
On the pipes.
Yes, Venus pipes. Yes.
And pipe stocks.
And it's up today.
Because he's asking about Venus pipes. So
Yes.
Wait for India market closing. We're going to see something on pipes coming in.
Yeah, or if you log into our YouTube feed, scroll back to 8:43 or 8:42 a.m. and you'll get it.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
SHN Foods IPO.